Hello, this is a second attempt. I uploaded something earlier. I didn't review it too well, and so I found out that only half of it made it to um, the final cut because it cut about 13 songs out of it for some reason. It seemed to jump. Anyway, so basically, what the video was about my favourite tracks from each Iron Maiden album, simply put. And so I'm going to do it again. And obviously, now when I said before in the last one, it wasn't as such the best tracks, but some of them intersect with each other. And so hopefully we'll get through this one and everything will be intact for a change. So starting with the first album, Iron Maiden's debut album, the one that stands out for me and my favourite on here is Phantom of the Opera, which they're playing on this tour. They played it in London Stadium, and they're going to play. I'm assuming they're going to play the same set list next year on their mini European tour, including Nebworth. So yeah, Phantom of the Opera is kind of set the pace really for. This wasn't just a normal band. They could have been accused of being a bit punky because the way Paul Di'Anno looked, and it's really kind of heavy rock. But it is set the standard really. It's a long song, and obviously it became this one of these their first epic. So that Phantom of the Opera. On to Killers, the second album. Yes, second album, and the last with Paul Di'Anno. Now, many good songs here. Rough Child, Another Life. You know, all sorts of good stuff on here. But my favourite is Murders in the Rules. It's it really should be swap it with Rothschild in terms of track order, I think, because it should come just after Ides of March, and that's what they're using in the concert. And they normally have used it for years. They have the Ides of March, and they got Murders in the Rules. It's a great opening track, great opening song, and full of energy. So. Murders for that one. Going on to Bruce Dickinson's debut with them, and like I say, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Cage Only Number, The Beast Runs of the Hills. But obviously, my standout track on here is obviously one that's obviously popular, very popular as well. Hallowed Be Thy Name. Great track with an audience sort of thing. The audience love it. They all really get into it, and it's another epic sort of thing. But it's a great song. Hallowed Be Thy Name. Going on to Nico McBrain's debut of the band as drummer. Again, this is replete with great songs. Eagles Dare, Revelations, Flight of the Icarus, Dive Your Boots On, Trooper, which is the most famous one, Still Life. Yeah, but for me, the song I really like on here is Sun Still, based on a life of a samurai, famous samurai, Mishari, and basically a great duelist, great swordsman, and that's what it's based on. So I've done a little video for that about that particular historical figure. Yeah, so Sun and Still, it's a fantastic song. I would love to hear it live one day. Don't know if I ever will. Time is moving on, and I don't know what they're going to be doing after their rest in 2027. Sorry. I don't know what they're going to be doing after their rest. Whether they're going to, some members of the band think, well, okay, it's about time. I'll just put my feet up. But anyway, Sun and Still. On to Power Slave, which is a great album anyway, full of classics. Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, you know, stuff like that. Power Slave. However, obviously, my favourite, and that's favourite of many, I guess it's kind of considered the best on here, and their longest track at the time, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, based on the Samuel Taylor Coleridge poem of the same title. Yeah, very kind of atmospheric, very storytelling based, as Bruce and several other members of the band are into real good like storytelling. So, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, definitely. Again, saw it live this year, sent it live next year, I guess. Fantastic. Right, on to their next album, Somewhere in Time, and again, basically replete with great songs. Wasted Years, Alexander the Great, Stranger in a Strange Land, Loneliness, a Long Distance Runner, Heaven Can Wait, and Sea of Madness. But however, the one I really like is Caught Somewhere in Time. It's a great opener. Again, I saw it last year when I went on holiday in Japan. I got to see them on the Days of Future Past tour, Yeah, and that was a great opener. They know how to start a show. Maiden do. Right, well, let's go back in a time machine to 1988 when I was 20, I think. And basically, the year kind of really got fully into Maiden. I mean, I was a casual fan before, I mean, this album was the first one I brought, and the single "Can I Play with Madness," which I drove my. Still living at home at 20. Ridiculous. That soon finished, and basically drove my mum mad to get out of my house with shitty music. Anyway, so my mum mad, but there you go. Anyway, "Can I Play with Madness" is the first single I brought. However, there's really good songs in here I love, and the one that really stood out to me when I saw it at the Castle Donington for the first time in '88 was "The Clairvoyant," and that pounding bass from Steve Harris. It starts off the band. It's a fantastic song, an epic song as well. So "The Clairvoyant" is my favourite song on this album. Well, now we get into I call the teenage years of Maiden, the middle years, the difficult 90s, and the 4 albums that came out of that of very different degrees. Now, this No Prayer for the Dying is my least favourite album from Maiden. I don't listen to it that often. I have made an effort to try and listen to it a few times recently, and so I can see, well, what have I missed? I mean, look, some people really love it because they love it. It goes very back to basics, and I think that's Maiden aren't a back to basics band. They don't. Let's not go back. Let's leave those the old songs to the tours. To the retrospective tours. But when we talk about new music, we need to kind of move forward. Obviously, he's got some fun songs in it. Tail Gunner, or Diet, Aces High as I call it. Holy Smoke, which is an amusing song about televangelists. And lots of great songs in here. However, I'm Bringing Daughter to the Slaughter, obviously not their best song, but obviously their largest hit, and again a lot of fun. The album itself seems very kind of like, okay, yeah, take it or leave it. My favourite album is the title track, No Prayer for the Dying, and that's kind of always like a very slow, ballady type song sort of thing. But yeah, that's my favourite song in there. There you go. Then obviously Bruce's last album before he went on to his little holiday to do solo work, Fear of the Dark. Now again, fantastic songs on here. Be Quick or Be Dead, From Here to Eternity, Afraid to Shoot Strangers, Wasting Love, and obviously Judas Be My Guide, and of course the title track Fear the Dark, which is the epic audience pleaser. The one song that really stands out for me on here and is Child's End, which I guess is talking about pollution in countries and war-torn countries and the effects it has on the youngest victims, the children, the innocents. And it's a really good song and a really powerful song, I think, and the words are really strong. Child's End on Fear the Dark. Excuse me. Now Bruce has gone off on his little holiday for 6 years or 7 years, or however long it was, and Blaze has stepped in from Wolves Spain, Blaze Bailey, and I've got a lot of time for Blaze Bailey in terms of his contribution to Maiden. Originally, a lot of people didn't. He was filling big shoes, and and a lot of Maiden fans didn't really kind of get into him, but I think he's great. Different voice from Bruce, still a strong voice, but obviously not very different from Bruce. This has got great songs in there: Sign of the Cross, Lord of the Flies, Man on the Edge, and Judgment in Heaven. All great songs. And the weirdest song I like the most is 2 a.m., which kind of reflects, the whole album reflects it, the dark period they're in. I mean, obviously Steve's went through a divorce a couple of years. In the last few years he lost, Bruce left, Adrian left a few years before, and so dramatic changes in his life and in the band. So I don't know if some of the lyrics are more him than the other guys who helped co-write it. But yeah, this is a good song. I think really good melancholic song with a powerful hook on it and a powerful chorus. So yeah, 2 a.m. is my favourite song on this album. Go on to Virtual 11, the last Blaze Bailey before he moved on. Like I say, great songs, Future Real, and the Klansman obviously, and The Educated Fool. I like The Educated Fool. A lot of people don't for some reason. One of my favourite songs on this is Como Estas Amigos, which is about the Falklands War, which is like, I guess, about 1990. It's about like 12 years after the Falklands War this album came out. Anyway, so maybe it had been in the hearts of the songwriters. Blaze, I think it was. I think it was Blaze. Not 100% sure, but I'll check that later on. Doesn't matter. One of the Maiden wrote it. Yeah, and I think it's a very poignant song about that kind of conflict and soldiers and the brotherhood of soldiers and you know, like politicians sending people off to fight. Really, yeah. Como Estas Amigos, I like it, and some people don't, but I do. Bruce is back, Adrian's back, yeah, and we get to after the Ed Hunter tour. They did a kind of mini tour in America, I think, to introduce the reformed band, including with 3 guitarists. Janik didn't leave, Adrian stayed in, and Dave, obviously. Nice 3 guitar attacker, Steve Harris calls it. Brave New World, and obviously fantastic songs in it. The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, yeah, Blood Brothers, yeah, got the Mercenary sort of stuff. Yeah, lots of things, but my favourite on here, and I like to listen to it, and I would love to hear it live. Like I say, time is a ticking, and I don't know if they will return some of these songs again at some point in the future. I do not know what the future lies for them, but Out of the Silent Planet is my favourite song in here. I prefer the album version. I know they released a single version, which is like the intro was taken off it and it went straight into the rock stuff part of it. But I like the intro version. I think it's a nice build up to the rock side of it. So if they ever did it live, I think they should do that. I think they should really start off with this live melodic guitar work at the beginning, and then punch right into it, sort of thing. Yeah, Out of the Silent Planet. Dance to Death. Again, it's full of great songs. Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker, Monsignor, and I'm not even pronouncing that right. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've heard people pronounce it properly. Dance to Death, but like obviously Passenger was the epic on this album. However, my favourite is and the one that means most to me is Journeyman, which is, as Bruce once said, it's about the creative journey, and I kind of write poetry out of my own like kind of Facebook page with my own stuff on it. Yeah, and it really touches me because it's mostly, I think it's not sure if it's their first acoustic. I think they had one on the first album. I think, yeah, maybe, yeah, but it's definitely acoustic song, and it's fantastic. Kind of rousing chorus, that sort of thing, which the crowd can get into. Yeah, so Journeyman. My favourite album from the reunion year, as they call it, or I don't know if that's accurate to call it reunion. Well, the band getting back together again in a more classical and new form, is Matter of Life and Death, and like again, fantastic songs in there. Different World, These Colours Don't Run, and the masterpiece on is Reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg, which I love. But like my favourite is For the Greater Good of God, which is a look at faith and religion and that sort of stuff, and how people use it for doing terrible things, and when the basic tenets of that faith say, don't do that. Like I said, at the end it says he gave his life for us, he fell upon the cross, which I guess is a referral to Jesus, and he sacrificed for peace basically and humanity, and they kind of like, it's like you say, this was never meant to happen, this is the opposite of what he wanted. Yeah, so For the Great Good of God on this album, great album. Cool. Final Frontier, which obviously, as Steve Harris has once said, that Bruce came up with the title, I think, to kind of like make out that this would be the final album. So yeah, and a little cheeky little game with the fans. Anyway, great songs. El Dorado, Coming Home, definitely a fantastic song. The Talisman. However, out of those two, and it was difficult to choose, yeah, I think Coming Home, because it's such an epic song, and it's like I think it's a great way. I think if they were to replace Wasted Years as the final song of the encore, I doubt if they ever will. I think it should be either the Blood Brothers from Brave New World or Coming Home from this album. Yeah, it's just these are more point. I think real crowd pleaser songs, that sort of thing. So yeah, maybe I think Coming Home on this. Book of Souls, number 16, album 16, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, great song, Speed of Light. Telling Teacher Foul, Red and the Black, fantastic bass line at the beginning. Tears of the Clown, about Robin Williams, and Death of Glory, about the Red Baron. But my favourite on here is actually the longest song they've ever done so far. Fingers crossed that they get album 18 out at some point and get into the studio. Despite all the rumours we hear about Steve's not wanting to do an album, yeah, I just don't buy it that they've got no ideas. That's just my opinion. I don't buy it. Really don't. I think they've got plenty of ideas. They got ideas coming out of their backsides because they've got so much solo stuff they've done. I mean, Bruce Dickinson got 18 solo tracks demoed, ready to go. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they've got ideas. So anyway, Empire of the Clouds. It's an epic journey. I love it because I sit down, put my headphones on, relax into it. It's about the R101 disaster, and basically the whole thing tells the story of the R101 and starts off with like piano start. It's sort of a piano, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. It's fantastic, and I love it. Yeah, it's a great epic thing. Nice. Right, okay, tidy up here a bit. Right. Well, the album number 17, which is on the most recent release, which is about 4 years old now. So that's why I'm saying just get into the studio, you lazy buggers. Anyway, so you got obviously like great songs in here, Writing on the Wall, Senjutsu, Strategio, which I love, and the Parchment, which is epic and all. But my favourite one is Hell on Earth, which is a fantastic song, a powerful, meaningful song for people in war zones. I think who love listening to music, and this one's really poignant for them, especially a guy called Vladislav in Ukraine, or Metal Program as he's known on his YouTube channel. Very meaningful. I mean, I saw it last year again at the Days of Future Past tour in Osaka, and yeah, amazing, spectacular song. Right, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully this part 2 will be better than the part 1. I tried to this second attempt, so the sequel hopefully better. Well, it's a bit longer for a start anyway, so that means everything was recorded, hopefully. So thank you very much for the time, and have a great day.